Welcome everybody to our 7 p.m. meeting at 7:56 p.m. on June the 7th. And roll call will reflect that all members of the Mayor and Council are present with the exception of Alderman Ruth Barr, who is fallen ill. I think she may have eaten something bad or something. And Councilman Josh Powell, who is probably sipping a cocktail beachside on his vacation. So, anyway, with that being said, Councilman Denver, if you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Michael Brown has asked Ellen Simpson if she would deliver our invocation. So if you could rise to the pledge and remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Sir.
If we would all bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for our city and all the dedicated, hardworking employees who serve us so well. We thank you for the citizens who have come out tonight showing their concern and their care for the city. It is a blessing to have people who are interested and active in the government process. Lord, go with us as we move forward, granting us wisdom and strength and courage to make decisions that will benefit the city and help us all to work together in a spirit of peace and harmony and unity. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, maybe seated. Well, one of the best parts of this job is recognizing employees for dedicated years of service. So, Smitty, front and center, sir. William's going to say a few words about Smitty.
You don't know what this cost me to get him up here. He won't come. He doesn't want recognition. But we do have a particular watch that he wants. And he has earned it and then some with 30 years of service. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it over to you. But, I mean, what can you say? The guy's amazing, and this place wouldn't be the same without him.
That's exactly right.
Amen.
Smitty's the one. There you go. Smitty is a legend in Hapeville. We know him as Smitty, but his real name is Donald Smith, and he has served this city for 30 years. And I think you've about done it all, haven't you? You haven't shoot anybody yet? You haven't buried anybody yet? About everything else, I think you've done. I've seen you down in the ground. I've seen you with water all over you, mud all over you. Hope at everything. So you're a great asset to this city, and the fact that you've given 30 years of your life means so much to us. So thank you very much. You got a nice watch, a pretty catchy watch. All right, you got some family here, so will you introduce your family?
Well, my wife, Vicki, and my son, Donald.
Y'all come on up. This is 30 years, kids. Lee?
How old's your son?
How old's your son?
18.
18. All right. You're getting old enough to know better now. Lee, I know you got something you probably like.
I have to say something nice about it?
Yeah.
I usually, when I get mad at Smith, I call him by his real name, which is Donald Hoyt Smith. But I'm very rarely mad at him because he's always pulling me out of the water and doing whatever we need to get done. And you citizens know him. When you want something done, you call Smith. So we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
30 more, Smitty? 30 more years?
watch and I watch.
Yeah. 9 years old.
Yeah. All right, congratulations again.
I thought you brought the family over because they were going to Disney World.
Well, we could probably take up a collection and make that happen. Congratulations again, Smitty. Thank you so much for your dedication. And one thing I'll say about Smitty too, he takes it personally. When something goes wrong, he takes it home with him. He doesn't just leave it at 5 o'clock. He takes it home with him because it means that much to him. So that's dedication you don't get too much nowadays. So thank you very much, Smitty. Under our next item under presentations, we have a third quarter financial report, but considering the fact that Jim Schuster, our finance director, is under the weather tonight, I'll entertain a motion we table that report for tonight.
I so move that we table the finance report.
All right, second.
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At this time, we'll take comments on agenda items. We'll have general comments at the end of the meeting. If anybody has any comments they'd like to make on agenda items, I'll start on my right. Please come forward to the podium, take the microphone, identify yourself and your address as well for the record. Make your comment or ask your question. Starting on my right. On my left. We green?
Carol Seaton, 3333 Myrtle Street. Really just a question. Extended stay is supposed to be going before the Planning Commission, and the last time I was able to look at the website, Planning Commission was scheduled for Tuesday the 14th, and the budget hearing was the 14th. Have we adjusted something or figured out a way not to have those in conflict?
No. Basically, business has to go forward, and we're trying to work out schedules as best we can, but, at this point, it is what it is.
June is a rough month.
I have a real problem with that then.
Well, the planning commission is meeting at 5.
Okay, that's what I asked. I was asking.
We're meeting at 6, okay, so we're doing the best we can, but at the end of the day, there's only so much time.
That answers the question. They were both at 6 before. Now, if the planning's at 5, hopefully they can do it in an hour, and then we can do the budget at 6.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're trying.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, question.
The date's the same.
I wish we could go at 5 and be done by 6.
All right, any other comments or questions on my left? On agenda items? Okay. All right, next item we have under new business is the first reading of ordinance 2016-14. That's described as an alcohol extension. It should say alcohol ordinance extension, but the temporary relief ordinance is passed for assisting the new microbrewery operations are due to expire on June 30, 2016, unless council takes prompt action to extend. A special council workshop needs to be scheduled to correct these issues as well as other items in the existing alcohol code. Staff recommends the passage of the proposed ordinance to extend X number of days, and that date certain can be set for a July workshop to give the city attorney the direction needed to craft a new comprehensive ordinance. Staff recommends July 19th or July 26th. Council, do y'all have a preference on that? We can word that into the motion.
I'm not going anywhere, so July 26th gives us a little more time.
Okay. You good with that?
I'm never going.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion on ordinance 2016-14, alcohol ordinance extension. Oh, that's right. This serves as first reading. Okay. My bad.
So we don't need to do it.
So we don't need to do anything. Yeah. So we will have the, we'll extend it, that will extend it to the 26th, and we'll have that workshop on the 26th. So,
But we would
It'll be
spend a
second
little
reading
past
on the
that.
21st.
and, pardon me?
Second reading will be the 21st of June.
Do we
To
have to
adopt
do
this.
it?
That's right. Yep. Okay.
10.
10-4.
Right, you're good, because if you have it on June 21st, that's in plenty of time to catch the expiration, and then it would be extended by whatever dates in the ordinance, which I think is sometime in September or October, so it gives you plenty of time to get everything together.
10-4. Thank you.
What day of the week this is?
They're Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. I'll put it down a minute. Okay, next item is consideration and action on ordinance 2016-15, extended stay moratorium. 2015, the City Council passed a moratorium on the development of extended stay hotels in the city. The moratorium is for the purpose of clarifying rules and standards for new development of extended stay hotel projects. First reading was held on February 16, 2016 on the new rules. The moratorium was subsequently reestablished on March the 5th, 2016. After receiving public comment, staff has modified the ordinance to take into account the comments made at first reading. The major changes made were to have a minimum size of at least 100 rooms, a minimum standard of 400 square feet per room, and upgrade the requirements for amenities provided to include hot breakfast and larger screen TVs in each room. Council also desired to have a special use permit requirement for such uses in all RMU zones and protection of residential properties abutting such uses in the UV zone. In summary, the proposed ordinance would, number one, continue to allow extended stays in the C2 general commercial zone. Number two, eliminate extended stay hotels as a permitted use in the CR commercial residential zone. Number three, render the use subject to a special use permit process in the RMU zone. And number four, prohibit extended stay hotels in the UV zone when abutting a residential lot. Staff is now satisfied with all zoning allowances and has been convinced that little to no impacts will occur to neighborhoods in the city while accommodating this important market segment. We recommend approval of this ordinance and the lifting of the moratorium. The Planning Commission will be hearing this matter in June, and the city will bring this matter back to Mayor and Council on July the 19th. Staff recommends tabling this matter until then. However, we do need to extend the moratorium. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and the staff reserves the right to update the report. The report that's there is a little old. We are adjusting other aspects of the ordinance per your discussion and direction.
Okay, so we're extending the moratorium until July the 19th? That was the note I made at work session. Is that?
The moratorium is 120 days.
Okay.
From
From tonight?
whenever it's adopted, yeah.
Okay, all right. You want prepared to make a motion on this item?
I move we extend the moratorium on, this is,
So 2016-15 will accomplish
that one.
All right, motion to adopt 2016-15?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're the only one. You don't second somewhere in trouble, okay? All right, any discussion further? All right, there being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign, the motion carries. Next item is consideration and action on resolution 2016-05. This is surplus fire equipment. Staff discussed with council on several occasions the need to surplus one piece of fire equipment, a 1995 International ambulance. Potential buyer has made an offer of $3,000. After further review, staff believes that this is a fair offer and recommends acceptance. However, if council wishes for this item to be placed on GovDeals, then the staff will follow appropriate measures to post the apparatus. Is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item?
I have included in our package something about an international 1996 ambulance and.
Right, that's the ambulance is it 95 or 96?
It's 95.
All right, 95. And then the ladder truck, we did not, we took action to put it on GovDeals, but we didn't take action to surplus it. So this will surplus that item as well.
Okay, so this resolution is about these two items.
That's correct. The ladder truck's already been sold on GovDeals.
Okay, so it's just the international 1995.
It's just the one vehicle.
Okay.
You want prepared to make a motion on this item?
I so moved.
Motion to, okay, 2016-05.
I second.
Second, discussion.
Yes, this 3,000 seems low to me. I know it's old, but I know these things are, I just wondered if GovDeals, how that compares, how we looking in terms of, would that be the best way to go to take this, or can we see what else is out there?
We can put it on GovDeals and see what else. We just have an offer made on it, 3,000. The last one we sold was in that range, around 37. This one here, it's got a lot of issues with it.
Okay. What is the, does anybody know off the top of their head what the commission rate we pay GovDeals is?
I do not. It's probably 1 or 2%.
I don't know off the top of my head.
So this is already stripped down, correct? There's, I mean, there's not really any equipment going with it.
No, there's no equipment going with it.
Is it drivable?
If you jump it off,
Okay.
I think we ought to take money to run.
That's a good emergency vehicle if you've got a second vehicle to start. Okay, you're telling me more.
All right, so we got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All right, there being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration and action to enter into a letter of agreement with Boone for design and build of a playground for Master Park in the amount of $8,500 and to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents pending legal review. In early May, staff had preliminary conversations with the Boone Granting Agency that offers a wide variety of funding opportunities to help you bring more play into your communities. After speaking with program officers about Hapeville, staff were encouraged to apply for a Boone Playground Design and Build Playground Grant for the Master Park. Improvements of this park's playground would offer much needed safe play area for active families to walk and bike to and to gather. Although improvements to the park, such as paving, walking trail, accessibility, were made possible in the recent years through CDBG funds, the play equipment is aging, limited, and in a state of disrepair where safety concerns are rising. Recently, the playground site was identified by the Hapeville Cares community volunteers as a place in need of cleanup, and the site received some much needed TLC. The space can be prepared and ready to let our community's children inspire the playground of their dreams. With the funding assistance and the expertise of the Boone team, we could make this playground a place that would be accessible to children and their families to visit and interact with and interact and have fun. The Master Park site was deemed by staff and Boone program officers as being an ideal site for a grant application due to several factors, including the age of the equipment, the cost of replacement, and the proximity to the Recreation Department's accessible programs. The Hapeville Elementary School and the Hapeville Library could also make use of the park. With many children walking to and from school, using the city and county facilities before and after school for activities. Staff, including Community Services, Economic Development, and Recreation Departments, have made a written pre-application to Boone and held a pre-screening conference call. The next step to be considered by the Boone grant for the award, if interested in pursuing the grant, would be to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of intent and partner agreement. Staff has reviewed the Parks and Grounds site improvement funds and could make $8,500 available for this site improvement project. We talked about this a little bit at the work session tonight. Is anybody prepared to make a motion on this item?
Yeah, I am. I want to move forward. Yeah. I've got questions on it, but I don't know how to get there without.
I guess you move, I'll second.
All right.
Sure, you.
All right, so you're making a motion to enter into the agreement?
Sure.
All right.
I second.
Your second. All right, discussion.
I haven't seen drawings, but I mean, I know that it sounds like a lot of people are involved with it, so they're pleased with it, but would there be, and this is just a step forward, it's not a final, right?
That's correct.
We're just trying to move forward to see if it is available.
Right, because we've been encouraged to apply, but there's several criteria by which they judge who they make the award to.
So we don't have to pay any money to proceed further.
Correct. We're in a grant competition.
Okay.
Is the money budgeted if we were to receive it?
Yes.
As I stated at the work session, Boone is quite well known for doing this, and they bring in $30,000+ worth of playground equipment. They do look for city involvement. Number one, always first in your wallet. They want you to put some skin in the game financially. Number two, they want the people that would be using this equipment to be part of the planning, the implementation, and the actual physical labor the day that they come down and do the project. So if you've got questions about Boone, I recommend that you do a little Google search on them and check them out, because it's quite an honor to be selected by them, and it's quite a big, kind of a PR media kind of thing when they come do one of these projects. So, it would be
They
a way
actually
for us.
will have in the process built-in opportunity for our children to actually have a say in the design. That's why there are no drawings.
Right.
So it's actually going to be designed by our children, responsive to their needs, and then supported by all the adults who commit to step up in the process.
Let's put it this way, before I joined the hour-plus long conference call we had with them, I dreaded the daylights out of that phone call because I thought, oh Lord, this is going bad. But the excitement that came in that phone call was amazing and infectious, actually, because it really, you got kind of a sense of where they're coming from and how they operate. So let's dig a little deeper.
And well, as I mentioned at the work session, as I looked at these documents, under, excuse me, number 2, obligations of Kaboom. It says playground bill, Kaboom shall provide technical and organizational leadership and guidance for the project and shall coordinate funding, manage construction, lead the build day activities, make available other educational promotional items. But it did not say give this $30,000. So I would love to see before we sign on the dotted line for the final agreement, the part that says what money that they, or the value of the playground equipment that they're going to do.
Well, I don't know that we'll know the value until they get through the design process. That's part of the, that's the initial part of the process, is a site visit and a,
I'll be glad to ask them for an estimate. The mayor is absolutely correct. We won't know the exact value because it's being designed by the children. But we can certainly give, have them provide us with an estimate. And it was my understanding from the call that they actually fly one of their employees down to the site several times to help lead us through this process. Is that correct, Alex? And the lady we were speaking with was in California or Minnesota?
DC.
Oh, I'm sorry, Washington, D.C. So, that's all the same.
Do you think they can give us a maximum minimum? Like, we'll definitely give you at least $20,000 worth of stuff, but we can't give you any more.
That was the spread that they quoted.
Okay.
We're trying to follow their process. So.
William, in this, or Ally, a lot of these newer playgrounds I'm seeing are on like recycled rubber and something that's much more friendly to walk on, be on for the heat or for falling or whatever. Is there anything like that with this? Because those are some of the nicest ones that I've seen. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
I do.
It's almost
I
like a
actually
cork.
put one in when I was in another community, and it was very expensive.
Well, do they have allowance for that, or do we not know that?
I don't know that. It depends on the design, but certainly if that is a concern, we can raise that during the process.
They do use that
Okay.
material, and they mentioned that they would like to know if we were okay with considering it, but until the design part's done.
Yeah, I can't imagine any parent that wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer.
Last one I was responsible for was about $20,000, and it was an area that was a little bit smaller than the one at Master Park.
Well, can we provide our own tires and chop them?
I'm not sure.
That's our community
Meet
involvement.
regulations.
Okay, any further discussion? There being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration action on resolution 2016-08 CID expansion. The attached resolution is requested by the newly formed CID that has properties in our city. Under state statutes, the city is to approve a resolution naming a board member to represent the interest of the community on the expanded CID board. Mr. Joe Foles with Porsche Cars North America is requesting the honor of serving in this role. City staff is very comfortable with working with Mr. Foles due to our experience when he served as chairman of the Aerotropolis Board. We also note the tremendous community involvement of Porsche USA in numerous city events and causes. Staff recommends approval of the resolution that council name Mr. Foles as the representative of the expanded CID board. Is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item?
so moved that we have Joe Foles. And usually everybody jumps at all these things and does them, so I don't do that many of them. I don't have to, but
And I think the motion is not just to get Joe Foles named onto the board, but to approve the CID.
We're
Is that
approving
correct?
the resolution that names the board member.
Okay, so not the resolution to.
Well, all right, let's get a motion on the floor, and then we can ask Gerald to clarify, because we have
That was
several
my
questions.
suggestion.
oh yeah, we have.
Okay, will you second, so we can get discussed?
Yes.
And then we can ask Gerald.
Yes.
Okay, so you're second, all right. Gerald, hope you brought your asbestos britches, because you're in the hot seat tonight.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
All right.
Mr. McDowell, I have spoken with you before, and I appreciate you sending me financials a couple of months ago when I asked for them. What I think our citizens and I have a question about is the necessity for us to sign a document to participate in the CID. Some of the documents that we have listed the participants that are in this new expansion. 6 of those are in the city limits of Hapeville.
That's correct.
And those are primarily 4 Delta properties. One is Digital Doug Davis and another is the Wells Fargo building. Obviously they are not contiguous. They are kind of all around Virginia Avenue. My concern is, number one, why they would want to do this. Just to be totally frank, because I know a lot of the basic reasons for joining a CID with a business is, you know, enhanced wayfinding, enhanced, I guess, streetscaping, you know, extra security is provided, and those sorts of things. And I said at our other meeting, you know, if our security car, if the CID security cars are riding around the Delta businesses and they see something, they're going to call our Hapeville police. They're here in 2 minutes. So the people in Hapeville have the best security, fire and police with 2-minute response times. And as far as I have been able to discern with these locations, their grounds look pretty good. And so this looks like it may be 25 properties in the entire expansion list, and these 6 that are actually within the tax base of the city of Hapeville. What happens if we decide we don't want a board member and we don't want to sign this?
Okay, let me walk you through the
Thank you.
process and so I can clarify what your action is tonight. So the process is, number one, the property owners have a document that they execute that's called a consent form. And so when the property owner signed that document, the property owner is notifying the county that they are agreeing to pay into the CID. So
And that has already been done on these 25 properties?
that's correct. And then the tax assessor of the county, so in this case, in Fulton County, will certify that all those documents were executed correctly, and then that certification is given to the Board of Commissioners for Fulton County. So step 1 is the consent form. Step 2 is the certification from the tax assessor's office, and so you have that documentation as well. And then the third step is for the Board of Commissioners then to pass their resolution approving for the tax commissioner to collect this additional tax from those property owners. That has been done. So now those properties have been added to the existing CID.
CID West.
Airport West, correct.
Airport West.
So your action tonight is, now that you're going to have these property owners from your city as part of the CID, it gives you an opportunity to have representation on the CID's board. And so now you pass a resolution and you appoint an individual who's one of those property owners to represent the interests of Hapeville. So that's your action tonight.
Can you tell us, go forward, for the people that aren't signed on, you know, well, I understand there's 6, is that what you said?
6 are in.
So the ones that aren't on it, are there any obligations that would be thrust upon them?
None whatsoever. No, the only ones who are obligated are the ones you see listed there.
So the big concern for us is that some of our small mom and pops, and you and I have had this conversation several times, some of the small mom and pops get sucked in kind of involuntarily. What safeguards do we have that that can't happen, I guess, is another concern that we have.
The only way that can happen is for us to get more consenting properties to sign up. And then those consenting properties allow you to include non-consenting properties. So we cannot include anyone else who does not want to be part of the CID. We cannot do that.
How often do y'all recruit new members for the CID?
Well, I have to, that's a two-part answer.
Okay.
Okay. CIDs, when they are formed for 6 years.
Okay.
Each year, we can expand.
And that's part of what this is.
So that's part of what we're doing. However, the board has made a decision after this phase 1 expansion process that we would only include those from Hapeville who want to be included. So if there is a phase 2, that phase 2 will not focus on Hapeville. Because we have already talked to all your property owners, and those who want to be included are the ones you see listed there.
Okay.
There's no need for us to come back and talk to anyone else.
So someone could petition you should they want to be included.
Right, it's just like a property owner coming to the city that's not in the city and they want to be annexed into the city. That's the only way that we would include another property from Hapeville if they come to us and they say they would like to be included in the CID. But going forward, no other properties from Hapeville will be included unless they come to us and ask to be included in CID.
Well, specifically, let's just take the area of South Central that has a couple of banks. They can probably afford it. You've got Wells Fargo and Regions. And then on the other side of the park, we have the Delta Reservations building. But there are small businesses in between. So is there a written safeguard for those? If those outside people want it and the people within don't, is there ever a forced point on those people?
The answer to that's a two-part answer. The answer to your question is, number one, once you have consenting property owners, and you have to have a continuous expansion. And so in order to get to the consenting property owner, you may have to include those who are not consenting. Okay, so what we did in this case, when we came and talked to the property owners, we had one property owner, Portia, who wanted to be included in the CID. And so the consulting group that we hired, they worked with the county, and we figured out a way to get to Portia without including anyone who did not want to be included. So the answer to your question, when you have a property owner who wants to be included, we have to figure out how to get to that property owner. And sometimes you have to include those who don't want to be included. But because we came and met with the property owners here, and we knew that there was an overwhelming non-interest, we intentionally made sure, when we met with William and the staff, we told you that we would not include those property owners who did not. So we figured out a way, using the airport, to get to Portia without including more parcels beyond those who were consenting.
Well, I understand that, but Portia's on the outskirts. But when you start moving inside, and if you were to get Wells Fargo and Regions Bank and Delta Reservation Center, I still don't understand, does that automatically force, there's about 6 small businesses in between there?
Michael, if I may, Mr. McDowell, the businesses that are in there are the Delta GO, and those are the big. Correct. And they're not like Wells Fargo and Regions Bank on South Central. It's the Wells Fargo Operating Center. That's all by itself.
I understand that. I was just trying to give an example of what could happen with these larger corporations compared to the smaller businesses, that if they were forced to do it, it might force them out of business.
Right. And you're exactly right. And we are very sensitive to that. Along Virginia Avenue, we had 2 or 3 more property owners who did want to be included in the CID. We could not get them in the CID without including some of those properties that you're referring to, so they are not in the CID, even though they did want to be in the CID. I have their documents on my desk. We didn't turn those into the county.
Was there a way to create a downtown zone so we have something in writing that it will never be forced upon them?
No, it's state statute of the process for how you go about creating a CID and how you go about expanding a CID. And so in order to change that, you have to go back to the General Assembly and have legislation to change how CIDs are formed and how CIDs are expanded. It's kind of like if you had a city referendum and you have a overwhelming group of people who did not want that referendum to pass. And so it comes down to how many yes votes you get and how many no votes you get. And so now what you're asking, for those who will vote no, they're asking, is there any way we can be protected should this get passed? Well, the only way that can happen if you change laws of how you pass referendums. So at this point, what I would say to you tonight, as the executive director of the CID, we have no intentions of including Hapeville in future expansion. And should we have property owners who express interest, we will come to you, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it before we proceed.
I liked your term, overwhelming non-interest. I think that sums up our Hapeville. Okay.
And it isn't that I don't think you're doing good things, it's just we are doing so many things for ourselves that don't require that additional tax.
Yeah, so some of the other cities aren't putting we're so small that we're able to make differences through our streetscapes but again, we could benefit from the maintenance of interstate exchanges as well. So
right.
You know, it's not a total, but a lot of the things that property owners gain from CIDs we're already providing.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, Fulton Industrial Boulevard, they don't have 2-minute police response out there.
Right.
So they welcome that increased security presence. We don't have that problem here. So I think that's the point Councilman Demick was.
And what I was tell you, I've worked with CIDs in the city of Norcross, in the city of Lilburn. I was working with CIDs in Gwinnett County for over 10 years. And coming here, the CID model, this was a great area. The airport area is a great area for the CID model to come and really revitalize and help spur economic development in this area. I will tell you, what you have going on here in Hapeville is a good thing. You do have a good thing going on here in Hapeville. Unfortunately, when you have developers and investors who's not familiar with Hapeville and they only know this area as Atlanta or the area around Atlanta, we have to help others who are not doing as well as you are. And that's what the CID can do. What we did here is that what CIDs do, that's not needed here on Main Street, or it's not needed here in Hapeville. And so that's the pledge that I make to you tonight, is that we're going to be here in the airport area, but there's no need for us to come back to Hapeville to expand the CID.
Well, it's just a little unnerving because we have a unique blend of small shops. Chapman's Drug, been here since the 20s, but we also have these large corporations all in this small city. So you wonder, is there something where a big corporations want something and somebody in between is sandwiched into a problem?
Right.
And that's what's unnerving for people. I don't own the business, I'm in that section I'm talking about, but if my landlord was hit with something, it would affect my lease, and which would affect my prices, which would probably put me out of business.
And I took back to the CID board those conversations that we had previously when we met, and when we met with the property owners. And so the CID board, they took our recommendation, and that we did not need to strong arm anybody in Hapeville to get them to be part of the CID, but those who did want to be a part of it, we figured out a way to include those property owners. But as it stands today, there's no need for us to pursue any other property owners for us to do the work that CIDs can do in a community as we have here in the airport area. One last comment that I'll make to you to address the question that you asked from the very beginning. One of the reasons that Delta and Wells Fargo and Porsche wanted to be a part of the CID is because there's a movement that is going on in South Metro. And that movement is to put South Metro on the map in a way that development and investments that have taken place in North Metro will take place in South Metro as well. But there you have national brands, and then those national brands, they want to make sure that they go on record that they are working with each individual efforts to make that happen. The local property owners or the local shops, that's not necessary, and we recognize that. And it's not necessary for us to include those properties in order for the CID to be successful. What we have before you today is the end of the road, and I'll give you my word again. If there will be a property owner who comes to us at any time and they express an interest of being involved in the CID, we'll come back, we'll sit down with staff, we'll sit down with council, and we'll have a conversation. And if it's something to pursue, we'll make that decision together. If it's something that should not, again, we'll make that decision together. But we will not blindside you in any way whatsoever.
So these ladies of card played, these are the cards that have been played. And right now, this is what the expansion would involve. These properties are the expansion.
That's correct.
Any other questions for Gerald?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make just one final comment if I could, just in the spirit of full disclosure and making sure that everybody has all the information. One of the things that CIDs do have the power to do under the statutes is to seek out state and federal grants that normally don't come the way of a municipality. So I just wanted to put it out there that if the T-SPLOS did pass, for example, we've had some very preliminary conversations that once the CID was in place, if it moves forward, that we would partner together to leverage funds and stretch our dollars. So that's one of the things that in the spirit of disclosure that they do have the power to do that we wouldn't normally be able to take advantage of. So I'd like for Gerald to speak to that and see if that's correct, if you understand.
William is absolutely right. They're not going to look at, when I say they, the county is not going to look at and to see that if there are 100 property owners from Hapeville that's part of the CID, all they're going to look to see is which cities are working with the CID. And you passing this resolution tonight, you will be working with the CID. And so now when this T-SPLOS comes down the pipe, we are able to work with you to help maximize the capital to come from the T-SPLOS to bring it here to Hapeville. We can identify projects that's outside of your borders that's considered the greater Hapeville area, and because you will have properties down in the CID, we can work together and we can secure funding that you otherwise would not get. We can help you secure that funding from the county and from the state as well, because you have an interstate close by and because you have state roads in the area. We can now work together to help secure additional funding that you otherwise would not be able to get yourselves.
Any other questions or comments?
And that wouldn't affect the tax base of the smaller businesses?
No, actually, it does in a positive way. What it does, they're already paying taxes to the county and to the state, and those taxes are going somewhere else. Now what we'll be able to do is to recoup those taxes and keep them here in this community. So now, by you passing this resolution, you empower us to help you do that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jerry. All right, any further discussion?
Do we want to see it in the audience? After this?
Any further? There being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, we'll take public comments at this time. We took agenda item comments earlier, so if you got any general comments, I'll start on my right. Dr. Redd.
Jeannie Rath, 3409 Northside Drive.
I just wanted to say that Hapeville Clean and Beautiful has a meeting on Monday where we might be interested in discussing the playground equipment and Kaboom, and maybe if some of the physical labor is needed, if that's something that moves forward. Our small group of volunteers, along with our partners in Portia Cares Network, might be interested in entertaining that project and being part of that. And secondly, I wanted to mention that Hapeville Clean and Beautiful is sponsoring a Cofield Park stream remediation on Saturday at 9 o'clock at the Scout Hut. Along with Portia Cares Network, we are hoping to provide some cleanup at the stream where at the moment, my untrained eye and microscope, does not appear to be any macroinvertebrates or microinvertebrates at the moment, so we're hoping to clear out some of the stream. I know Portland Partners came and did some of it. We've got a few families interested in the environment that are coming that morning, and even if you're not someone who wants to get out there and get in the water and clean, you could come for educational purposes. The Portia people always bring Chick-fil-A biscuits and coffee, and the Scout Hut will have a map that shows how the stream flows out into the South River, out into the Atlantic, and there's some water quality chemical testing kits available. If you want to hear about them, I will share them with you, but most of the volunteers that are normally part of these Hapeville Clean and Beautiful endeavors are not available on Saturday, so I'm really kind of hoping maybe some of you others might come and you could just have the Chick-fil-A and coffee and then ride into the sunset if you like. But yeah, I would like maybe a little support from some other people in the community than those who usually come out and help with our events. 9 a.m. is when the coffee and the Chick-fil-A will be there. We'll stay a couple hours.
Cofield Park.
Cofield Park.
So the invertebrates and all you were speaking of, those are life forms.
Well, yeah. Right now there appears to be just a little algae, and the water quality numbers aren't that bad, but there's nothing. There's no, even when you take a water sample and put it under a microscope, nothing, much less a toad or a, dragonfly. I'd like to at least see one of those in the near future, so.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Any other comments? Mike?
Well, the start would be the stream.
Mike Simpson, 3300 Broadway Drive. I wanted to let everybody here know the South Fulton Chamber will be meeting at the Renaissance Concourse on June the 16th. That's not this Thursday, but next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. The speaker is going to be Chairman John Eves, and he will be talking about the T-Splosh and educating everybody about what's going on. I just want to make sure that everybody knew that.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other comments on my right? On my left, Nan? Welcome.
Right, that's Janine.
Janine, I'm sorry.
Not Nan.
I apologize.
Nan is my friend.
Nan's your
but she's
predecessor.
not here today.
Forgive me.
He thought it was his nanny.
Good evening, everyone. Janine Brown, resident at 1155 Hardy Street in Atlanta. Thank you for indulging me for a moment. I just wanted to call to your attention that there is a runoff election on July 26th, which is 6 weeks from today. And we are holding a candidate forum on June 16th at the Jefferson Park Recreation Center in East Point at 7 p.m. And I hope that you all come out and get informed about me and the other candidate. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll give you all one of these so you can have that for your record.
Thank you. Forgive me for calling you by the wrong name. I know your name. I just had one of those senior moments.
Thanks, Dave.
I don't know how far these will go.
All right, any other comments on my left? Ms. Murphy?
Laura Murphy, 201 Colorado Avenue. Good evening. I'm a little disappointed that you voted on that with only 2 council people. I would have liked it if you'd had the other members here. Looking at the map for the CID, the little bitty red line, if you can even look at that, it was in your packet, that connects those two together is sad. And the promise is not as good as it would be as if it were in writing. I'm quite disappointed. When we got $450,000 to do the grass and maintain the on and off ramps, that now we're just gonna let somebody else do them, I guess, if they do them. But for Joe Foltz, who isn't even in the city of Hapeville, to represent us, I'm appalled. And I'm not happy at all that William has not listened to the citizens of this community. 59 of us said no. 6 said yes. And if you read it, it's a percentage of the property. So if they have 75% of the properties, which we're small, so one big property wipes us out, they're gonna come get us next. I'm very disappointed.
For your comments, Beatrice.
Beatrice Golden Hayes, 2129 Livingston Circle. I too am very disappointed that Mr. Foltz is being looked at as a member of the board to represent the interests of our community. I'm thinking that Mr. Foltz is with Portia, and please let us all remember that Portia is not in Hapeville. Portia is in Atlanta, and Atlanta gets the benefits of anything that Portia does. Mr. Foltz doesn't live here. He doesn't have anything to do with Hapeville other than the fact that he's with Portia and he's across the street. But I think that we could have found someone here in Hapeville to represent us, to represent our interests, not the interests of Portia or the interests of Atlanta, but the interests of Hapeville. And I'm really just kind of really concerned about the fact that I'm not speaking to his credentials. I'm sure he has very good credentials, but he doesn't represent us, our community, and I'm surprised that we couldn't find somebody in our community to sit on that board. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on all that?
Mickey Williams, 3333 Myrtle Street. I'd just like to know how the gentleman's name came about, because he is not in Hapeville. I don't understand how his name, and I'm not even going to refer to his name, how did he get selected for this position? Do we not have anybody else in Hapeville?
Well, they have to represent one of the property owners that's in the CID.
Okay, but Portia's not in Hapeville.
Understand?
So we have nobody representing
But
Hapeville.
he's in the CID that Hapeville is involved in.
Okay, but I understood, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I understood the gentleman to say that one of the benefits is that we, Hapeville, would have somebody representing us on that board. He's in the city of Atlanta. Portia's in Atlanta. So we don't have anybody representing us.
Mickey, I've worked with Joe Foltz through the Chamber of Commerce for probably about 3 years. And he has always been open to anything that either the chamber or the city. I have a direct line with his secretary. He is, it's purely by designation of property lines, but they are very much a part of Hapeville in spirit, and he has our best interests at heart. I know that from personal experience, and can guarantee that if any of you have an issue to address about what would go on in the CID, that I'd be happy to take it from you and give it to him, and I have no doubt in my mind that he would pass that on.
Okay, one more question, please. What happens if he leaves Portia? Does that mean that Portia gets to?
We
Come
pick
back to
somebody.
us, we would pick some.
Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sure.
You have the list of parcels that were included. There are 3 parcels from Porsche that's included in the CID. One of those is in Atlanta. The two that's on your list are actually in Hapeville.
It's part of the
So it's not
undeveloped acreage at
right,
this point.
right. So they signed up 3 parcels, and the only way that you could appoint him to the board if one of those parcels would have to be in Hapeville. So there are 2 parcels on your list.
Is that in District 30Z?
Right. So those 2 parcels are in Hapeville, and then the second point is CIDs. We can only include commercial property owners and industrial property owners. And then the property owner of those properties, that they're the only ones who can be on the board. And if they want to have someone who is not a property owner to serve on their board, then they have to designate the person themselves. So you have a choice of someone from those 6 parcels to be on the board. Those are the only ones you could consider. You just want to make sure that everyone is clear that we're not trying to do anything that is not correct or in order.
I appreciate you saying that, and I also concur with Diane in my relationship with Joe Foles, and his relationship with Hapeville Elementary and a lot of different things. There's been huge involvement. He's very sensitive to, I think they consider ourselves more hateful than Atlanta in a lot of ways, but I understand they're in Atlanta, but we have a great relationship.
Well, Porsche Cars North America would not be here without an Atlanta address. They're an international company. They don't want to be Porsche Cars North America located in Hapeville. And I mean, they would not be here if it weren't for that. So the City of Atlanta address is one of the reasons that attracted them here. And their proximity to the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is the other reason that they're here. And I have to speak, having dealt with Joe Foles years back before Porsche even signed the deal on the land over there, he has been very interested in Hapeville. He's been very involved in Hapeville. The Porsche Cares Network sends out volunteers every time we have an event. They've donated money to the schools. They've donated money to Clean and Beautiful. They've donated money to the Arts Initiative. They're a good corporate citizen, even though right now their headquarters is outside of the city limits. However, the biggest fear we had when Ford Motor Company closed the Atlanta assembly plant, we had 123 acres total for the Ford plant. This Jacoby development during the downturn in the economy, much to Hapeville's chagrin, sold 52 acres of that to the airport. 30 acres of which is in the runway protection zone, which couldn't be developed anyway. So net, the airport gained 22 acres of city limits of Hapeville. That made no one happy, but it was a business-to-business transaction that we couldn't stop. I wrote letters to congressmen and senators and went as high as I could go and went to the FAA. I did everything as I could at the time as mayor to stop that from happening, and I just couldn't do it. However, one luncheon that I had with Joe before they closed on the site, I looked at Joe Foles and I said, Mr. Foles, if there's one favor you can do for the city of Hapeville, that is to acquire, because they had an option on an additional 30 acres adjacent to their headquarters, all of which, Gerald's right, all of which is in the city limits of Hapeville. I begged him, Joe, please, for the benefit of the future and the vitality of our city, please exercise that option when you purchase that site. That would be the one favor I can ask you to do for us. And we shook hands and he said he would do everything he could do. At the end of the day, when Porsche bought the 28 acres or so that their headquarters on, they also bought the additional 30. That was a godsend for the city because that was prime real estate. And if we had lost that, we have lost a major part of our tax base. We have lost a major area for dense development. And because to this day, we haven't replaced the tax loss that we suffered when Ford closed that assembly plant. So when you look at Porsche, just don't look at the building they've got now. Remember that they own that other 30 acres. They sold part of it for the sole-lease development, but they've got 23, 24 acres, I think, left of that 30. And the rest of it is the sole-lease hotel, which is all city limits of Hapeville, and we will benefit from that greatly. So let's read, I wanted to kind of read the rest of the book here so everybody can understand the history and the reason that there is a trust for Joe Foles. I understand what people, why people raise concerns, but that history goes way back before they even turned the first shovel of dirt here. So
and I have to apologize. Joe called me earlier this afternoon, and he called to tell me that he had a personal